Greetings, Cagesiders. It's Sean. It's your boy Sean here with a bunch of other Cagesiders. We're trying something new. We teased it on the Money in the Bank Fallout show, I guess, with me and Roscoe. We're going to be trying to do a roughly monthly roundtable of Cagesiders just talking wrestling. What we do here at Cageside sees the best damn pro wrestling community on the interwebs. So with me today I have four fortune. We'll go with like a four horseman thing instead of a fortune thing. We'll try to get a better vibe going. We've got Blue and Orange for life.
Yo.
We got KM Tierney.
Hello.
We got the Reverend Kane.
Hey.
And we got Mr. Green.
Hey.
240?
230.
I don't know. I get the numbers.
Too many numbers. Yeah.
Right. This is why I get fired a lot. So what we're going to do, if you've ever seen like ESPN's Around the Horn, we're going to do something sort of like that, but I'm not going to press any buttons or mute anybody. So we're just going to talk. We're going to run down a list of topics, mostly things coming out of Money in the Bank, heading into Battleground next month, WWE-wise. Everybody will get a chance to sort of talk on those, and then we'll wrap it up at the end. If anybody has, something else they want to talk about outside the WWE or follow up on a point, we'll go with that. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Yep.
All righty. So first up, we'll start big and work small. So, when people decide they hate what we have to say and tune out, they'll at least have heard the good stuff. Just kidding. This is awesome. You're going to love every second of it. We're talking Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, the Authority. What's going on? I don't know. Who wants to start?
I'll go ahead and start off. What's going on? I really don't think they know what's going on. They've got this great idea. Let's have Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins face each other. But they really don't know how to get to it other than Brock Lesnar was suspended. Okay, now what? So they started building all of the other feuds and then just brung Brock right back into it. It's one of the only drawbacks of having Lesnar there. He exists outside of kayfabe. So when you have to bring him back into kayfabe, sometimes it can be a bit of a miss. I love the idea of Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. I do not know where they're going with this. Is Rollins turning on the Authority? Is the Authority turning on Rollins? Is this really just to prove himself? Well, what if he proves himself? What then? Are they just booking this on the fly? I think that's the likely idea.
Yeah, I'm with.
Go ahead, Mr. Blue.
Yeah, I'm with Tierney, and to keep with the theme of Around the Horn, I'll say I'm selling on this angle. Although part of the problem with that is, I think broadly the Authority storyline has really just run its course, and really it ran its course months ago. So compounding the fact that they don't really know how to bring Brock back in a way that kind of makes sense with everything else that they've been doing, you have to fit it within the confines of an angle that kind of is, gumming up the works with how stale everything is. So, I'll applaud the individual performances going on within it. The shot of Lesnar coming back and Rollins looking absolutely terrified was great, but long term, I don't know. I'm with Tierney. It really just seems like they don't know what they're doing.
I just want to say real quick, Rollins deserves all the praise for his performance on Monday night. From the speech to the way he sold the emotions when Lesnar came back, it was a dead man walking moment, but it was beautifully sold. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah. There are pieces here that make sense. Brock is money. Of course they'd want him back. Seth's the golden boy. Handpicked to replace Brock, so writing Brock off makes sense. And then bringing Brock back when Seth doesn't make money also makes sense. But we have no connective tissue, and we're not going to get any connective tissue because it's WWE.
Mr. Green?
In my opinion, I think they're playing up the angle that we know what's going on behind the scenes. So we all know that Brock has a limited amount of dates. And I think they're making a more push to appeal to more than the casual fan, the internet community. They're really catering to us right now. Even though I never watched Ring of Honor, but now they're bringing all these new guys in that I know are good, that come from the lineage of a CM Punk or whatever. You know what I mean? So they're keeping those type of eyes on the product, and I think Brock Lesnar sells itself. You plug him in, and it's anarchy. He's like the Joker. He lives by his own set of rules. That's just my opinion on it.
Great. That's one thing I was going to ask you guys. So do you see? I mean, are they going like outside of face and heel with this? Is this total reality era playing behind the scenes, or
I believe so.
Are we seeing a Brock face turn? Are we seeing a Rollins face turn if he's going against the Authority?
I think it's going to be similar to when Reigns and Bryan faced off at Fastlane. They were teasing heel turns for both. I don't think a heel turn was ever in the cards for each, but they were also sort of putting it out there to see how it resonated. I really think you're gonna see those kind of teases to where it's very ambiguous alignment-wise, but they're leaving open feelers for something down the road. I think in the future, WWE is going to make a lot of money off of Seth Rollins' face turn. So they might want to throw that out. WWE is going to make a lot of money off of a Brock Lesnar face turn. Even though he is already a face.
He's already a face, yeah.
Yeah, and that's really the thing. The crowd wants to acknowledge him. I really just think they should go with this. But I don't think they really know what they're doing yet. This is one of those things where it's classic underpants gnome booking. You have Lesnar and Rollins. Step 2. Step 3 is profit. They don't know Step 2 yet, so we got to see what Step 2 is.
I mean, Lesnar's also kind of at the point where he's basically a permaface. I mean, how do you get heel heat on Brock Lesnar as he is now? I mean, he's going to get cheered no matter what he does. I mean, you'd have
to
murdering Michael Cole.
Right. He'd have to. Kane's saying he'd have to murder Daniel Bryan, which they wanted to have him do, but
I would have loved to see, just from a standpoint of could they actually get away with it and how they'd react. That would have been the great alternative reality that I want to see.
We may see Kevin Owens do it yet, so since he seems to be the master of the heel stuff. So let's use that as our segue.
True.
Arguably the bigger angle even right now, if it wasn't for Brock, it probably would be, is the ongoing Kevin Owens, John Cena saga that if we believe today's rumor roundup, is going to go for 2 more matches, one at Battleground, one at SummerSlam with some sort of extra stip on it. Thoughts on how it's been going so far? Your concerns about where it's going next?
Oh, I'm buying this whole thing. This is great, and props to both men for how they're playing this. I mean, this is how, as much as I kind of hate to admit it, this sort of makes all of what happened with Wyatt and with Rusev, with Cena, it almost makes it worth it, because the fact that Owens went over, and the fact that Owens got to react to losing the way he did at Money in the Bank, it's such a bigger deal now. It's not an ideal way to get there. Once again, it's WWE sort of backing into something awesome. But the fact that they've got it there now, and the fact that Cena actually was off TV for a week to sell the fact that he got apron bombed, I think that was great. And normally I'm not cool with feuds being played out forever, especially with Cena facing somebody who's not new but who's coming up to the main roster for the first time. But they've earned a little bit of leeway for me with this angle. I'm buying it.
Normally I would say I'm buying this angle. Not only am I buying, but I'm looking to buy additional. I am worried that they're doing too much of a good thing, and this is a very, very good thing, and I don't want to make it sound like it's not. I'm just worried that it's going to keep on going out, and will they be able to add a more engaging layer to the story? The past couple times, every week they're coming out, they're making a better layer of the story, and it's great. I mean, I wrote the several fan posts praising this angle. It really is a great angle. It's a layered angle, and it's what you should be doing with the secondary titles. Everybody just seems to think, oh, the main event is all that matters. I know in the past I said Roman Reigns should spend some time in the mid-card. And everyone's like, well, if you're sending him to a mid-card, he's being demoted. Looking at this angle right now, does anybody think John Cena and Kevin Owens are being demoted?
No.
Nope.
They're totally
the
jerking the
hottest
bro.
angle on the show, and I want to see more. I keep wondering, can they elevate their game? And the cynic in me goes, I don't know if they can. Oh, if it goes too long, you give Cena the chance to win the series. I've got to suppress the snarkiness and just go all in for this ride. I'm enjoying it. Stop wondering about when it's going to end. Just enjoy the damn ride. And that's where I'm at right now.
All right, Kane, what do you got?
Basically, I pee my pants in joy every time Kevin Owens is on my screen, and I soil myself in terror when I think about the future. So I'm concentrating on the urine-soaked present.
And that's why I love you, my brother. I don't know how you top that. Mr. Green, what do you got for us on Cena Owens? Can you follow urine-soaked present?
I'm buying it. I became aware of Kevin Owens when he showed up on Raw. As I said, I don't really know a lot of the backstory. So I like this entrance. I think this is a good old wrestling feud. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where things are you could tell that they're taking their time on this, and you could tell that there's two, like, this is a good old school feud, and what's going on with Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar is more soap opera entertainment. Like, you know, like, I think they're making two different scenes, like an entertainment scene and a more wrestling focused thing, and I think that's what they wanted to do by bringing the secondary titles in and putting it on Ryback and putting it on John Cena. You know, guys who could put on different types of matches with different types of people. Like, you know, they're trying to make Ryback a miniature attraction, in my opinion, and like a mini Brock, because, you know, he was on another podcast and he said that he wants to fight Brock Lesnar. You know, I don't think Brock was ever Intercontinental Champion. I think he was, actually. You know, that could matter. That could be on WrestleMania. You know, that could be on a Royal Rumble. You know, just for him just to collect all the belts again. Like, you know.
I think that's an interesting point too, that they're doing a couple different angles, and you mentioned that you don't watch Ring of Honor, but I think, which I think is great, that we have somebody with like a different background. I know a lot of I don't want this to just become like four smarks, you know. So
yeah.
There's all different types of fans.
I understand. I try to.
You probably feel outnumbered on the internet most of the time.
No, I don't. No, I don't, because I check out. You know, so I'm a fan. Yeah. So back in the day, I used to. All I have is time for WWE. There's so much hours of it to watch. Yeah. I can't really. It's not like WCW days or ECW days, or you know, it's just. And the storylines are just. I just got used to the WWE product and the production. Right. So when you see these guys, it's better on the bigger stage. Like, you know, like I watched like Punk, Samoa Joe, great matches. Just imagine that on the WWE stage, and that's what they're trying to do right now for the fan, and that's what I like. Like, you know, it's like this is really the big leagues, and matches should matter. And I love all those guys' independent stuff. You know, I wish I had the time to like follow them and be aware of them. Like the last person that was for me was CM Punk. I became aware of him on the internet, like, you know, and I kind of followed him. So I didn't really know about these other guys, because he kind of left when those guys were taking the spots that he left behind, the Seth Rollins or the Tyler Black, as I know he's called down there, you know, and it's great. Like, you know, I think WWE is really going all in on the reality era with the Total Divas. It's like it's a whole package. Everything's connected. Everything matters. Like, they're trying to repackage Eva Marie right now and just like make a Sable factory, pretty much, you know. And I just think that's where they're going, you know. But I like specifically what they're doing, Kevin Owens and John Cena. They're making a great angle for us, right? With great matches every week. It matters, you know. John Cena could finally get a week off to just relax and be off TV, because he finally has a good dance partner. Like, you know, finally, he's been saying that for a long time, that, you know, I've been fighting the Randy Orton 1,000 times. I fought, you know, Edge. Like, you know, now we're finally getting brand new matchups with people who could go. And John Cena is still showing that 10 years later, I could still go. Like, you know, and he's trying to, you know, I think he's going to win people's respect back. You know, even though I was never a John Cena fan, but I could respect what he's doing right now, and that's what he wanted to do with it. Like, now the U.S. title means something. Because yeah, he ran through the whole roster because that's what he does. But now he fights a real wrestler. When he fights, he could lose to a real wrestler. He lost to Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, like, you know,
Yep.
clean, like, you know, he does the right thing when he has the right dance partner. You know?
I think it's a good. I think Cena's earned a lot of people's respect. I mean, most people knew, like Owens said, that he's a great pro wrestler, but a lot of people still were just so tired of the character. And now I think the character's getting a refresh. But going to some of the worry about the future. I mean, what do you see? I mean, experience tells us that Cena goes over in the end. Can they do that? Are they going to do that here? Can they do that and without damaging Owens the way they maybe, you know, people say they damaged Wyatt and
You're asking me?
I'm asking the panel. So I'm throwing it up.
No. Well, can I start? Well, I think I'll just say something real fast. I think Kevin Owens is protected. You know, he said it himself. He's a prize fighter. You win some, you lose some. You know, and I think he's going to be around for a very, very long time because he's just looking for a fight. And sometimes you win a fight, sometimes you lose a fight. But you know, it's just it's all about the fight. And
yeah. So Owens' character kind of protects him. What do the rest of you guys think?
Just like Bray Wyatt, you know.
No, we'll get to him next.
Yes, we will.
Go
I
ahead.
feel like the title is the key piece here, because the title, John Cena can't be U.S. champion forever. So eventually he has to lose it to somebody, and why not Kev? And then they're not going to keep feuding for another 4 months after that, because even WWE doesn't run shit in the ground like that. So
you think maybe Owens wins the U.S. title, but then Cena wins the feud, kind of a thing?
yeah, maybe.
I have a theory. I have a theory on that.
All right, shoot.
I think they might bring the U.S. title down to NXT. I feel like they're building up the titles, and I don't think NXT has a secondary title.
No,
so
they don't.
You know, so I think that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna win it probably at SummerSlam, and drop the belts to Finn Balor or something. You know, or maybe do a belt redesign and merge it with something, and just have the Intercontinental title, the tag straps, and the WWE title. You know.
Interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. All right, Blue, Tierney, what do you guys got? What do you think about it?
I think Owens wins this feud eventually. I mean, I know we always get that great hope. This is really Lucy taking the football away, but I think this time Charlie Brown's going to kick it. I think he's going to kick it and hit that field goal. I think Owens is going to win this feud. Cena was given the secondary title to elevate the prominence of the title. Right now, with the exception of Brock Lesnar returning, and even then it's kind of tough, the U.S. title is the hottest title on the program right now. Mission accomplished. And if you're going to use the secondary title, not only raise its prominence because you want to make stars. Kevin Owens is a star. Kevin Owens deserves that really, really hard push. So with that in mind, I'd say eventually he goes over. Maybe they'll have Cena win, and then it'll be at Battleground. I wish they wouldn't fight at Battleground, by the way.
Yeah.
But then they'll do like a 2 out of 3 falls or something at SummerSlam, or a cage match at SummerSlam, in a real old school way to blow off their feud. That could work, and Owens comes out on top. Owens should come out on top. I know we always say that. We said that about Wyatt and Rusev, but this is the case where Owens has the strengths that Wyatt and Rusev lacked. Wyatt was not necessarily... He had a great gimmick. He had a lot of charisma. He didn't have the psychology and storytelling abilities that Kevin Owens has.
Exactly.
And Rusev didn't have the ability, even though Rusev's showing incredible range right now with his skills, nobody's Kevin Owens in a promo. And all those things, Owens is also a really good pro wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to just slum around. Oh, let's wait. Let's have him pay his dues. He's paid his dues for 15 years. If you're going to go reality era, you might as well incorporate that. Give him the belt.
All right, Blue.
You know, one could argue that, you know, Owens also hasn't had to deal with stupid photoshops and demon children, but that's another topic. I actually like that they're fighting at Battleground, because if they only fight at SummerSlam and he drops the belt to Owens there, then you got Cena's hanging rematch to address in some way. So I think, and maybe I'm just being foolishly optimistic, he's dropping it at Battleground. and Owens is going to win the rematch at SummerSlam in some big, feud-ending stipulation of some kind. I would love a 2 out of 3 falls match. I think that's a great stip that doesn't get done often enough. You go back far enough, and all title matches were decided 2 out of 3 falls. I mean, that's a ways back. But, I think it's a really cool way to blow off a feud without sort of abusing a stip like a cage match or, a prop match of some kind. So, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, and there's a real NXT tie-in to 2 out of 3 falls matches because that NXT has a history of blowing off feuds with those going back to Zayn Cesaro. So, all right, let's keep it moving. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
It's all good. Also, one thing, since you guys mentioned Rusev real fast, I think you should make him a Paul Heyman guy. He's so heartbroken about Lana. He's recovering. Paul gets in his ear. That way he has somebody to talk for him, which is what he needs. And Lana could go be the next Sable because, Vince really sees dollar signs in her, apparently, is what they say.
I'm always game to try a new Paul Heyman.
Another monster. Like, he could make another, monster. That's what he is. That WrestleMania promo really sold me that he could really sell pay-per-views and sell big fight, give you that big fight feel, because Rusev gives you that big fight feel.
That would be the way to turn Brock face completely too if he broke from Heyman. So
yeah,
that's a possibility. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's talk about Bray's come up a couple of times here as we talk Cena, and he's getting another keep Bray busy away from the titles feud. He still has never held a belt. He's going to go against Roman Reigns now. They announced that as soon as during the course of the Money in the Bank broadcast after Wyatt cost Reigns his chance at the briefcase. So let's start down at the other end. Blue, what are you buying or selling Reigns Wyatt?
I'm buying it because they did with Bray's promo on Monday what I've been begging them to do with Bray's promos for since the Taker feud. They gave him a motivation that made sense. Got kicked out of the Money in the Bank match by Reigns. They gave him a clear target, Reigns. They let him get inside Reigns' head in a specific way. That's not just. I mean, look, I love Wyatt as a promo, but you can't deny that he's, especially when he ended up facing Ryback. Most promos were kind of all over the place. This was specific. It was targeted. It was short, and using Reigns' daughter as a real callback to Ray and Eddie or Sandman and Raven. I mean, there's a lot to dig into here, and I think that both of these guys are really looking to make something out of this, to give them something to distinguish themselves. I mean, they're both a little bit, Reigns right now is getting over as Ambrose's running buddy, and that's good. But you let them really sink their teeth into this feud. Like if they actually give them the time to do something with it, I think this could be really great.
Cool. Who wants to go next?
All right, I'll say something. I think this matchup is pretty interesting because these guys are straight out of the comic books. They're the characters. I think Bray Wyatt playing mind games with Roman Reigns is great TV. If he could, it'll force Roman Reigns to up his mic skills going against people who could go on the mic. I remember one time he said "suffering succotash." Come on, man. He's really bad. I think he's really nervous. That's the thing. He seems very nervous on the mic, and I think Bray Wyatt could play that up. That he's really getting to him. But it should be good. A blow off at SummerSlam.
Cool. Kane.
The first thing when I started watching wrestling again in 2010, the first thing I saw, I tuned on SmackDown one night, and there's CM Punk singing "Happy Birthday" to Rey Mysterio's daughter, and this reminds me of that. And I hope they go all in on it. I don't know if they want to bring his daughter out. I don't know if they want to. I don't want anybody to do anything that makes them uncomfortable, but I kind of want to be made uncomfortable as a viewer.
Yep.
I'm of two minds on this feud. The inner Mark in me says all in. because as both Green and Blue have pointed out, Blue and Green, you guys are a team up for a future podcast.
Definitely.
It's doing with the characters what you need to do. It's giving Wyatt a goal. Right now, Wyatt just meanders and meanders.
Yeah, he has
a bunch of clouds of smoke, and nobody knows what's going on. This gives him something to do to really pour his mind in. And when he's focused on something, he's really good on the mic. And in regards to Reigns, everybody wants to know what makes Roman Reigns tick. We want to know about Roman Reigns, the guy, as he exists in the WWE Universe, not just the guy cocking his fist and all of that. This gives you some motivations. It's the family stuff. Everybody loves that. So this is very good. The smart in me says, oh boy, they've wrestled before. It's not been that good. We've got to acknowledge that. And it very well could not be good this time. And it's going to be a one-off match, and after it's done, it's done. I really don't want that to happen. I want there to be, in this case, these two need to trade some victories. They need to trade fights. And even if you have to make Wyatt lose everything, which is Vince's thing or WWE's thing, they have Wyatt always lose. At least have Roman come out of this a changed man.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting. I think as far as the in-ring stuff, I'll just throw my own 2 cents in there real quick. I think Roman's come a long way since the first time they fought. So I am encouraged that it won't be as bad. I mean, Bray's strength isn't as a ring general, so I am definitely concerned about it. But I think it could. It's something It's an opportunity for both men to shine. So hopefully they will do.
Grab that brass ring.
There you go.
Exactly.
All right, somebody who grabbed something last Sunday was Sheamus.
Nice segue.
I know, look at that. That's why I get paid
the big bucks.
So Sheamus grabbed the briefcase and surprised most of us, I think. I don't know that many people were picking him to win that. Most people were picking Reigns. So how do we feel about his victory and where? I mean, does he have a storyline right now? Is he going to feud with Orton just to kill time? What's going on here, fellas?
I'm probably one of the bigger Sheamus marks on Cageside. Whenever Sheamus puts on a pay-per-view match, I'm always saying how great it is. I love Sheamus in a pay-per-view setting. He always knows when to bring the big fight. Money in the Bank should make sense for him for that. It's his chance to really make a statement, come in and just deliver a nasty bro kick and take the title. That being said, I think he's just being groomed to lose. He's being groomed to fail unless they find some way to fit him in, and I don't see it so far. Unless they gave it to like a littler guy to hold the belt, then Sheamus would come in, just bully the hell out of him, cash in, generate tons of heat. That'd be great. I'm not sure that they know what they're doing yet. So yeah, Orton's just killing time. But I wouldn't be surprised if by the Royal Rumble, Sheamus tries to cash in and loses.
Heel Sheamus has been a breath of fresh air. That said, I don't see the end game yet. I mean, Orton is certainly a time-wasting feud, I think. But, that's what I feel like with Orton, and sorry for a little bit of tangent, but I feel like with Orton, every time he's gotten some kind of direction, like something happens, like he goes away to film a stupid movie, or he gets diverted sideways, and then he comes back and he gets put in these feuds that are kind of like time-wasting. But yeah, I will say that I really do like Sheamus's social media outreach to get people to tell him when they think he should cash in. I don't know why, given WWE's fanaticism about social media, they haven't tried to do that earlier. So, it's a nice change of pace, but I don't see where it's going.
Kane? I like to alternate between the Reverend, just saying the full Reverend Kane, and doing like, I don't know if anybody saw the Mike Tyson Funny or Die thing when Harold Kane or whatever his name was running for president, and he just said Kane all the time. I like Anyway, sorry. Rev, what do you got?
Orton. I love Orton, but I hate Orton.
Amen.
And I think I think the problem with this feud is that Sheamus is very good at letting the other guy contribute to what he's doing, Because you look at him wrestling Ambrose these couple times this past week, he's doing stretch mufflers all over the place. That's not in his moveset. That's something that Ambrose is used to doing back from his indie days, with Sami Callihan.
Mm-hmm.
And then back when Sheamus was wrestling Daniel Bryan right after Mania, he was busting out all these Chris Hero moves and stuff. And Randy Orton just doesn't have anything to give Sheamus, and I think I finally understand why they don't work together.
That's actually a really good point.
That's why we like him. That's why we keep him around. Mr. Green, what you got? Anything? What are your thoughts on Sheamus's Money in the Bank?
Sure. Like I said earlier, man, we're in the reality era, and who's the original Triple H guy? This is a Triple H factory according to or display. Who's the original Triple H guy? Sheamus. I really wanted Kofi to win. I thought it would have been great addition to their gimmick to have the briefcase with the tag straps, but I think they're just trying to, because Cesaro and Tyson Kidd are pretty much done because of the injury. I think they're just gonna break up trying to split up the tag team and build some guys up and bring up some more NXT tag teams right now. Just use like real guys that if you break them up, they can't really do anything. So I think that's why they put them on the primetime players, because you can't split up the primetime players. They need each other, and just
they tried that once, it didn't work.
Yeah, just make real tag teams. Kofi Kingston's gonna fight Brock Lesnar. How's that gonna work? So that New Day is gonna be over. These guys got themselves over. So let's see what these guys could do by themselves. And if it doesn't work, they'll come back together and get the tag straps, and they'll be right back where they were. And maybe Tyson Kidd is back, and they could work the program again. If they don't have anything to do. I think right now WWE's problem right now is just trying to find the right dance partner for everybody, and I think that's what's going on with Randy Orton right now, where he's not really relevant, even though he's a main event player. He can still draw money. He doesn't have the right dance partner, and look what Kevin Owens did for John Cena. So who in NXT could be? I don't know what you guys think. I don't really watch a lot of NXT either, but you guys see somebody different for Randy Orton in that, maybe in the independents that they could bring up. That'll give it, because he could give a good match. Look what he did with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. That was a great match, underrated match.
So who is Orton's dance partner? Because he doesn't click with a lot of people. He doesn't click real well with Cena, even though they fought 400 times.
Exactly.
My theory about Orton is Randy Orton, when he's about 3 months into the year, for about 3 months a year, he's great. Those other 9 months of the year, he just seems to be mailing it in. He doesn't care. And I really think we're in that. I get that kind of vibe out of him right now. He's just sort of going through the motions, cutting the long, monotone promos. And I think that's where we are with Orton right now. I don't know if he has a dance partner. I think, kind of weird, Sami Zayn, I think, would be a good partner for him. Once Zayn is ready up on the main roster, I think that would be the perfect kind of introductory.
Yeah, he's like Christian. He had a good feud with Christian.
That's a really underrated. I know I'm a mark for Captain Charisma, but all right. Yeah. Well, let's talk. Mr. Green brought it up a little bit too, so let's transition into. I want to come back to Dean Ambrose, but let's talk the tag team scene. I think almost as surprising as Sheamus winning the belt.
Yeah, man.
Was the New Day losing their belts? So, how do we feel about the Primetime Players run? Where does that whole scene go? A couple weeks ago, people were talking about how it was coming back, and then Tyson Kidd got hurt, and they took the belts off New Day, and it feels like we're back where we were.
So here's my theory. I said I had a theory. I think the Primetime Players are transitional champs. I think they're being groomed as the sacrifice to the Reapers. I think they figured out that Harper and Rowan are way better together than they are apart.
Mm-hmm.
And the alignment don't work with the Reapers and New Day. You put the belts on an undoubted face tag team like the Primetime Players, and then you let them go over the New Day, and then they deal with they got to deal with Harper and Rowan. So I think that's why, because the New Day, excuse me, the New Day don't need the belts to be over, or well, heel over, I guess.
Right.
They don't need the belts to be doing amazing work. They were doing great work. I mean, it took them a while to sort of get to that point. But once they got to that point, even without the belts, they were still, I thought, immensely entertaining. And sort of along those lines, the point that Mr. Green made a little earlier, I actually love the idea of Kofi and Brock Lesnar because there's so much. Brock has come back and he's wrestled like 5 people, and a lot of those 5 people he's wrestled 3 or 4 times. So, or at least it feels that way.
A lot of those 5 people were John Cena.
And a lot of those 5 people were John Cena.
And Triple H.
So I love the idea that they're putting Brock and Kofi together. I'm really excited to see what that match is going to look like. But at the same time, I don't think that necessarily has to mean an impetus to break up New Day. You know, just because Kofi is going off to have this singles match. I mean, I think ultimately the guy who's going to come out of this as the biggest singles star, now that he's sort of been able to find his footing as part of New Day, is Biggie Langston. But that I hope is for the future. That, you know, the injury to Kid and Cesaro, the injury to Kid, so brass ring club, you know, to the side, sadly. That doesn't mean that we have to say goodbye to the tag division. You know, it's decently interesting. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but we'll be getting the Usos back at some point. That means there's another new team in the mix. Mm-hmm. I think, you know, people who have been watching NXT who have seen Enzo and Cass in their feud with the Blake and Murphy factor.
Yeah, I'm getting hip to those guys too.
Have been doing excellent work. I also think it's no coincidence that their ring work has improved suspiciously soon after Bill DeMott left the company. But again, that's a different story. You know, so there's a future for having a continuous tag team division. I mean, the E hasn't done that a lot recently, but it can be done. The personnel is there. So yeah, that's my theory about why the primetime players got the belts.
Gotcha. Tierney, what do you think?
I can see Blue's theory about setting up for Harper and Rowan, who I really love them as a team. And the feud with the Dudleys will be one of the greatest hoss fights in recent history, I think. That being said, I love New Day. They're so good lately. Why? Losing the belts shouldn't be a demotion technically, but it kind of is in the modern WWE. They've been doing the Lord's work out there. It's great. I don't want them to do anything else. I want them to keep being out there with those belts and being those annoying heels. And I love the primetime players. I don't love them in the ring. Now, Titus has gotten better. He's a great hoss in certain situations, but I still don't think they have that click there that I was really feeling out of New Day, who all of them were gelling really well together in the ring. So hopefully if they are a transitional champ, it is very transitional.
Kane?
Titus has come a long way since the high spot shove. And I tell you, I really would like to see them feud with Enzo and Big Cass at some point. It'd be the best feud with the most pedestrian matches possible.
Excuse me.
But yeah, I want them. You know, it's a nice accomplishment for them. They should have had it like 3 years ago when AW got them in trouble and they didn't. So it's nice to see that finally tied off. But quickly to almost anybody. Lucha Dragons, Reapers, back to New Day, I don't care. Just
so we seem to be in agreement on that one. I'm excited. I'm all in on the Reapers doing anything. I love Luke Harper. So let's double back, though, to another crazy person, at least WWE would tell us, Dean Ambrose, who really seemed to have found his babyface footing atop the in the main event scene in the last iteration of his feud with Rollins. People were getting into that, even if he was just stealing belts again. And now he's, I don't know, maybe feuding with Kane. We think. I don't know. What do you guys think of where he stands now and what his next move is?
Dean needs a target. I mean, really, he needs a focus. I think a lot of the reason that his non-Seth feuds haven't really felt like they had any heft to them is because they didn't have any heft to them, if you know what I mean. Like he wasn't given a reason. Like they tried to do a little bit at the beginning of when he was feuding with Wyatt. You know, does your father still write to you from prison? That was great. Like they could have done something with that. And then of course they gave them like a combined half hour together for the promo time for the rest of the feud. So if Dean gets a reason to be going after Kane, like a real something that actually kind of makes sense, then I'm not so worried about him. He's still gratifyingly over, even if he's not, even in times when he's been sort of meandering around what he's doing. And, they still have in the back of their minds, they have to have both the Shield triple threat at some point, I'm sure they're thinking, and also the Shield reunion show. I mean, that one's probably way down the line. But so, yeah, if you give him a target, I think Dean will be fine.
Word. Who's next?
I think just piggybacking off what you said, that Dean needs a target, I think he should set his sights on the briefcase. It's a good feud. Both are great workers. They can put on really good matches. How can you get Seth Rollins? I have to get the briefcase. I get the briefcase. I get another title shot. That'd be a good angle to play out through the summer, and give everybody needs a dance partner, like I was saying earlier. Put them with a good dance partner. We're gonna get great matches, great promos, great storytelling.
I like that. All right, Kane, Tierney, who wants to chime in here?
I'll go ahead. I think Ambrose has really hit his stride lately. The only problem is this is the very stale WWE main event scene. When you have a stale scene for so long, when someone else rises up to it organically, they don't know where to put him. And I think this is the case with Ambrose right now. There's nobody there. Orton's doing his thing with Sheamus. Rollins is doing his thing with Lesnar. We don't have another heel. Oh, let's throw him with Kane. I guess this is why in my alternate universe, Barrett or somebody else would be in the role of Kane right now, and it'd be a great feud. I think this might be a bit of treading water. I just think you might see a Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose feud in the future. I think that would be really good. It'd be the perfect follow-up feud for Owens once he got out of the Cena feud, leading into the Royal Rumble and then the road to WrestleMania, whatever they want to do with them. I think that might be the ultimate next location, just a hunch. Hopefully Ambrose gets a good match with Kane. Kane has good psychology, but it's way past his time. I think we can all agree with that. So, cautiously optimistic in the long term for Ambrose. Short term, I don't know what they're doing with him here.
Yeah. I really wish they'd had him win the title for the 2 weeks, because then he would have had his revenge. He could have tied a bow off on that. They wouldn't have given it to him because they don't actually give anybody this stuff, but he would have had enough time to sell, like, okay, I got my revenge, but I'm still broken inside and I need to find some other target. And then when Seth beats him all by himself at Money in the Bank, it's a bigger victory for Seth. He looks like less of a slapnut going against Brock, and everything falls into place better, but instead we just have him steal the belt for 2 weeks and fall off into nothing. So.
Rev on the money once again.
Yep. They try to not make anybody look bad, and they end up making everybody look bad. And all right, so the last one that I had on my list, I don't know if this is a stretch as a segue, but I was talking about people looking good, and we have a Divas division, and a lot of them do look good. Yeah, well,
sure about that?
We have a Divas division. I don't know that we have any women's wrestling. So we still have Nikki and Paige is having a revolt maybe, and Nikki's definitely a heel again maybe. What do you guys think? I guess we're getting more Nikki and Paige. Is she calling in reinforcements?
I'm kind of two minds on this because, I've gone on at great length with people. I think I've had this conversation with Tierney and definitely with Kane a couple of times about how much I need continuity in my storytelling, and I agree. And it's interesting that in the division where they can't seem to be bothered to care, they're actually doing things that make sense from a continuity perspective. Paige asks everybody for help. Everybody tells Paige, where she can get off. Why? Because Paige has stabbed half of them in the back over the last year. Alicia Fox comes out on SmackDown with the Bellas. Why? Because she's one of the people that Paige stabbed in the back. So it's interesting that they're willing to have that kind of fidelity to continuity, even if the alignment, if the alignments change faster than Big Show and nobody seems to have any kind of characterization. So on the one hand, I don't know. I think it's leading to more than one call up from NXT. I would bet money on that. So
They really need more.
Yeah, I feel an invasion coming.
So there's a part of me that's kind of like thinking, okay, it looks like they might slightly actually be giving somewhat of a crap about this division now. But then the rest of me is just kind of like, okay, we've seen this before. They've looked like they might be doing something before, and you have learned through many years not to be optimistic about these sorts of things. So who knows?
Tierney, what do you got?
I like Nikki. I like Paige. I don't know if I like them together, and I really think that's my problem with this. It's getting played out a little too much. I want to see something new. The only problem is the Divas division has been bad for so long. What is there really new? How do you build up more people? They tried with Naomi, and I really think that Naomi was going to be a big thing going forward had she not fallen flat on her face in her recent push.
That poison Rana. Ugh.
Oh, it's really bad. I think all of us that were on the live thread, we had a collective gasp when she did that poison Rana. But even before that, when she gave that mule kick to Paige right in her head, that was scary. And I think Naomi's failure has really set this division back, and that they're not sure where they're going with this. So maybe they'll bring up Paige. Maybe we'll get Bayley now more on the main roster. And I guess since they're not doing anything with Bayley, bring her up on the main roster. You can have Becky down there. You have Sasha down there. Emma's doing something. Bayley's just kind of meandering. So bring her up. Have her be the ultimate mark versus the Bella's Mean Girl shtick. Even if Bayley shouldn't win, it could still be something fun.
Charlotte's probably first, and especially without giving too much away from the taping on Thursday, they've really set it up to look like Charlotte was saying her NXT goodbye. The other possibility is, they haven't had Natty doing anything independent of the Brass Ring Club for basically since the inception of the Brass Ring Club, unless you count, the interspecies tags matches with Los Matadores. So that's a possibility too. It's not entirely. We haven't gone through everybody. We've gone through most people, but there's some possibilities.
I'm just to chime in for a second because I can't help myself on this topic. I think they've done a nice enough job rehabilitating Emma. I think, and I think there's enough real life. I mean, they're good friends in real life. I'd like to see Emma get a chance as like a vicious machine operating at Paige's direction, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I think you got to leave Sasha and Becky down there. So your choices are sort of limited in terms of who's ready to call up and who could be called up. So you've got Charlotte, you've got Emma, and you've got Bayley, I guess. And Bayley's kind of a weird one to pull up. And I also heard, I don't know if this is true or not, I heard she's working with a broken arm, so she might not be.
She is working injured. So is Becky, actually.
I know. So, Kane, Mr. Green, what do you think about the women's scene and the main roster?
I just want a clean finish. That's all I want. It's not much.
Good luck with that, my friend.
All right, I'll say something about the Divas division. I think a lot of the Divas that are on the roster right now are conditioned to the 3-minute match, the 5-minute match. They don't even get 5 minutes. But I hear that the NXT girls down there, they're putting on 20-minute matches, half-an-hour matches, doing solid work. And I think it's not fair, to throw a lot of the divas under the bus like Naomi, who's trying to just get in as much as they can with the time that they have. And I think she could be a good fit. I think they're experimenting with Eva Marie, who has 0 ring skills, but she still gets a pass. But she's gonna be in NXT, and I think they're gonna really see who really wants it and see who can really put on longer matches. And I think Naomi would be good to go down there too as well. And I just think that if this works and they're bringing up like a Charlotte Flair who has a lineage, and throw in a Natty, and they could start putting on 20-minute matches on Raw, you know, take away from the opening segment like Stone Cold always rants about. I'm really getting tired of the opening minute segment, 20-minute promo. You know, stick a match in there. Give me a Divas match instead. You know, either I care about it and I sit down and watch it, or, you know, I catch Raw at you know, what was it, 10:30 this time instead of, you know, you know, it's I think every segment, every hour, like the first hour doesn't really matter, because if you watch Raw in the second hour, you're gonna get picked up on everything because that's all they talk about for the second hour, and the third hour is when all the real matches happen, you know. So I just think they need to manage the 3-hour Raw better, so the more casual, to get all the kiddie stuff in the beginning. And for the more casual fans like us who want wrestling storylines and just a little bit more grit, you know, make that be the late, because the kids are supposed to be at bed at a certain time. Like, you know, have half the show. Like, remember they had back in the day, they had Monday Night Raw was 2 shows. It was the War Zone and Raw. Like, you know, have it like that. Have one show that's PG and have one show that's, you know. You have the control now, or move it to the network, you know, move that extra hour to the network. That's what they're trying to do now, is trying to make us watch 4 hours of wrestling on a Monday. But I think they should, you know, cater to the people who have the network and make the last 2 hours of Raw matter, because that's what really matters. That's where all the big angles get finished. That's where all the conclusions happen. And like I said, Raw is, you know, 50% recaps. You know, you watch Raw at 10 o'clock. You get the recap, you know, it's 11 o'clock, all right, and we'll hit up the network and get an exclusive match, like get a real main event or, you know, a real fallout. They've been experimenting with it. They just really need to listen to the fans and really work on their product, because they have everything there. They just got to do it right. You know, they could do, I'm not saying, you know, chair shots and blood, but more adult-themed, you know, storylines, like, you know, like my friend over there, Mr. Blue said, you know, I loved when CM Punk, you know, taunted the daughter, like, you know, I love ECW when, you know, the whole Tommy Dreamer, they had like a backstory from like summer camp, like, you know, I feel like characters like that, you know, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, like, they have history, you know, so, you know, they could play that up and type of things. Like, I really think that's really how they should be going forward, and still be a family-friendly, you know, company, but, you know, just cater to different fans, you know.
The moment that made Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
You see, exactly. That's what NXT is like. ECW to me. They could take a person who has nothing going on right now and make them relevant. Like, you know, there's like Al Snow. I remember back in the day, Al Snow was like, Al Snow's in the main event wrestling for the heavyweight title, and the fans are going crazy for them. They all have heads, and like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what NXT is, and I think they're protecting that. And I'm not really a big fan of Triple H, but he's really trying to do the right thing. And it's just a shame that Punk isn't around to enjoy the fruits of what he's really, you know, cut the promo for, you know. And I think they did it out of spite, you know. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, that's another one. So let's. We're coming up on an hour here, so we don't want to go too long because nobody will be listening anyway. So let's start. I mean, what are you? I don't know. You guys. The floor is yours. What are you most looking forward to over the next month? What are you most afraid of? What do you hope they do? Hit me with a last thought.
So my last thought, I guess, is that there's so much that I need to catch up on outside of WWE, and I'm really looking to see how the move from ROH to be on Destination America, the rumors about Lucha Underground being on a bigger network than it's currently on, how WWE can maybe step up their game a little as we head into SummerSlam and as we head into, you know, the period of the year that's historically been a really downtime, you know, from SummerSlam to the Rumble. You know, there's so much great stuff out there. And, you know, it'll be really interesting to see whether they're willing to sort of acknowledge that that's happening and that fans' taste is broadening. I also want to drop that I think it's really interesting that Mr. Green, who's probably the least of the sort of the indie viewers on this panel, has really, still pointed out like the sort of the overarching problems that WWE has: the 3-hour Raw, the 20-minute opening Authority promos. So if people from all across the spectrum are seeing these things, one would think it would behoove WWE to do something about them. So we'll see if they will.
I'm going to go a little bit off topic in the sense that this past Wednesday, Lucha Underground, there was that Iron Man match, or one night, one fight, whatever you want to call it. Cageside already had a couple fan posts praising it. I think there's one reason to explaining why, and I really wish WWE would do this more. Even in an Iron Man match where whoever got the most pins won, there wasn't a lot of pointless near falls to where, like a lot of WWE matches, there's 50 near falls in it, and it completely sucks the emotion out of the match.
Yeah.
Hopefully we could start seeing less near falls in the future, because that's what made the match really good. The first act involved a couple attempts at roll-ups and whatnot, but once the fight really started going, there really wasn't any kickouts in the pins. When Mundo got 3 pins in rapid succession, and then Puma got pins in not rapid succession but played out, all of them made sense. And finally, at the last act, that's when they started bringing back the kickouts, because the story dictated it. Right now, they're just doing kickouts just for the sake of kickouts, and it annoys the hell out of me. It's the only reason it's one of the big reasons I think Owens and Cena, neither of them were 5-star matches, even though I loved them. There was way too many kickouts. And that's just me. I'll rant about that. I'll probably rant on that every podcast I'm on here, because it's one of those things that really gets to me. Hopefully we see out of the talent later. Let the story breathe during their matches. Stop trying to create the action and let the action just flow naturally.
All right. The Reverend Kane.
Well, I got about a month till the G1 Climax, which is going to kill me due to lack of sleep. But right now, the thing I'm most excited for is Jay Lethal, Ring of Honor World Champion.
Hell yeah.
Like, it's about time. I was watching some stuff of his from like 2005, before TNA took him away and wouldn't let him do their TV anymore. And he was almost as good as he is now, and there was no reason, aside from that detour, there was no reason he couldn't have been world champion right then and there, and to now see it 10 years later is really gratifying.
Yeah, I marked out about as much as I have and more than I did for Owens Cena stuff. Lethal he just seems like a good dude. He feels like he's one of us in a way that even Owens doesn't. I don't know. It's just watch him talk about watching wrestling as a kid, and it sounds like one of us. And yeah, and it feels like Ring of Honor finally doing the right thing at the right time. They always seem to just sort of miss the boat on people, and I'm amped. Mr. Green, did you have anything else? I sort of started with you on the wrap up. You got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I got a couple of things to say. If you
All right, hit us.
want me to. I think things are. Let me just first identify myself as a fan. I'm a lifelong WWE fan. I identify myself as a mark. Like, I love WWE, and I'm aware of a lot of other promotions. But like Chris Jericho said, there's a style, and I'm addicted to the WWE style of wrestling. I like Japan stuff as well, but just the presentation of everything, this is what we want. And now we're getting the wrestling that the indie wrestling, but in the WWE style. I agree. I don't like the multiple kickouts. I think there should be more selling. But I think we have 3 weeks now to the next pay-per-view. We're not getting hit with pay-per-views every 2 weeks. So I think Battleground is going to be a really good pay-per-view because we have established characters, we have the conflicts, and now we're going to the Battleground, and it's a thing to blow off and find who the dance partner is to build to SummerSlam. If it works, it doesn't work. So I think that's why taking the straps off of the New Day gives them a couple of weeks to kind of find themselves as singles guys. We have Kofi Kingston going up against Brock Lesnar. He earned that match. Look at all the great work he's done over the years. Look how many Money in the Banks that he's been in. Royal Rumbles he's been in. He deserves a match like that on the big stage. So I think it's good to see people get rewarded, like you said. Jay Lethal feel like he was one of us. Like it was good to see that it's getting rewarded. I'd love to see maybe a Kevin Owens, Mark Henry. I think that'll be a really good fight, and I think that could make him relevant. I was really glad to see him in the Elimination Chamber. It was great. Like he got a good pop, even though it's a hometown pop. He still got a good pop, and I think like Mark Henry could go with a good dance partner. He has my skills. I got the swerve of the century on the retirement thing. He had me, he had me. So I couldn't imagine what a fight between him and Kevin Owens would be like. So, like I said earlier, I'm more selling, better stories and putting people with the right dance partner, giving people the right arch enemies. Like Edge had Cena, Austin McMahon, CM Punk, John Cena. Everybody needs the right dance partner, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
There we go. All right, everybody, that was it. That was our debut edition of Cageside Speaks. The idea here is we're going to do one of these roughly every month. Different rotating cast. I might not always be here. I don't know. But what we saw here today, we saw different opinions, different types of fans, which is the good thing about the internet wrestling community and one of the great things about Cageside Seats. So that's what Cageside Speaks is all about. And that's what we're going to try to do. Anybody need to plug anything? Tell anybody to go to a Twitter? No, we're good. All right. That's it. This will be up. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see in the future. And, I guess I got to say that if you didn't like it, you're going to have to deal with it.